What's up, Reefers? Thank you for joining another Reef Chat with ReefStash. Today we have an awesome live stream video podcast with Caleb Parette from Vibrant Corals. We're talking about wholesale corals today and behind the scenes and everything that goes to getting these corals into our tanks. Looks like we got a lot of y'all here. While you're joining, I'm going to go feed the fish. Everybody give a shout out to my son, Zion, our stage manager. Appreciate you, Zion. Let's get the fish fed, and Caleb's backstage, and we'll bring him in just a second. What's up, everybody? All right, look at those fish. They're all going nuts. All right, y'all. So we got Caleb here. Appreciate Caleb taking some time to meet with us this week. Y'all are going to be able to answer questions from him. Let me bring him to the stage. What's up, Caleb?
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Glad you joined us, man. I appreciate you. Looks like you're joining us from Vibrant Corals.
That is correct.
Inside the facility. Looks awesome, man. And we got a lot of comments, y'all. So check it out. Caleb donated a 2 polyp stratosphere zoanthid coral. That's a soft coral for those that don't know. And he's going to ship that to your door. Only thing is you got to be U.S., continental U.S. And the way we're going to do this, because a lot of y'all are joining, is if you comment in this live stream, you don't have to do it right now, but throughout this live stream, as soon as you comment, Zion, our stage manager, is documenting your name, and you're going to be added to our wheel. And if you scroll up through the comments, anybody that has commented, looks like all the way back to Tim, you are already in. So it started with Tim here today, JC Reef. A lot of y'all been commenting over the last few days, and YouTube is kind of glitching with the live stream comments before it airs, and a lot of those comments are reset. So we're trying to make this as simple as possible and fair so that everybody has a chance. All you need to do is comment during this live stream. Zion's watching the comments, and he's going to add them to a stream. Oh, you on me? You got me? Okay. All right. So, Caleb, thank you for joining, my man. I appreciate you. And let's just start with a little bit about your background and how you got into keeping corals.
Yeah. So, I grew up overseas in Southeast Asia, and so that is a very aquarium-dominated community, if you will. Many people keep various types of freshwater, saltwater over there, and so I always had an affinity for it. My first tank was a freshwater tank on my desk in high school. A bunch of neons, stuff like that. And then as far as saltwater goes, I always saw beautiful reef tanks. I always saw my friends that had beautiful tanks, and there was just this captivating nature to see in the iridescence, the fluorescence, right, of all these different creatures underwater, the movement of it all. And so I'd always wanted one, but I actually, surprisingly, a lot of people say I've only been a hobbyist for about 8.5, 9 years now. That's when I got my first tank, it was about 8.5, 9 years ago. I got a secondhand Deep Sea Aquatics, a DSA, made here in Dallas. Yeah. The DSA 60-gallon, and that's how it all started. And I'd go to the stores, go to the frag swabs, filled up my tank, and just figured out that I was halfway decent at growing stuff and providing the type of environment needed for both coloration and growth. And so that's kind of the basis of how I got into all this.
That's awesome. Joseph asked where in Southeast Asia?
I grew up in China. There's an island city called Xiamen right across from Taiwan, and it is the whole city is on an island. And Yeah, I grew up there. I was born in Hong Kong, and then I lived in China until I was 17.
Wow, man, that's awesome. Give a shout out to my wife Raquel. Thank you for joining, my bride. Appreciate you. You're always so supportive. Rick's asking if you scuba dive there, and I know the answer to that, and we're going to get into that because I have a couple of clips that I want to share of some of your adventures. So, Rick, hang tight, man. You're going to get to see it. Let me give a shout out to everyone that's joining. Mike Richardson, what's up, man? Rick, what's up? Tony, Swanee, Eric, Charlin, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining. You're over on Facebook. Most of y'all are joining from YouTube. That's great. We tried to share this stream to X. That didn't work out, but whatever. We're live streaming from Facebook and YouTube. We got Beamer RCC here, Daniel, my mom. Shout out, mom. Good to see you. Caleb said, "What's up?" Brienne, Ariel, Z, Tim Brown. What's up, my man? Daryl, thank you for joining. Appreciate all of y'all. So let me show a clip right now, Caleb. I just want to. Just get the vibe. I love your vibe at Vibrant Corals. You guys are all about it, man. Y'all are easy going, just having a good time with coral. Let me get my screen on. You're probably gonna quickly recognize this reel. Is that you? Is that you with the shades on?
Yeah, that is me. That is me.
That's awesome. All right. Am I sharing my audio? Yes, I am. Let me turn this audio off. All right, here we go. This is a clip from Caleb and his crew at Vibrant Corals. And y'all are in Dallas, right? Dallas, Texas.
That is correct. Right outside of the DFW airport.
Awesome. That's convenient to be close to the airport, especially with shipping coral all over the place. All right, here we go. Here's Caleb and his crew. Funny beard, man.
I like to move it. You like to move it. I like to move it. I like to move it. I like to move it. You like to move it. I like to move it.
My kids are all probably dancing upstairs right now watching. Yeah. Love it, man. Love it.
Yep.
All right, and we got a clip here of some of the coral in your spot. We're gonna get to see his coral, guys, and some of the tanks and gear. That's gonna be on the second half of this stream. Let me just share you a little snippet right here for you. Let's talk about the coral, man. Tell us what happens before they get to your facility. Just walk us through the coral life cycle.
Sure. So, as many people probably know, right now there are two. Well, there's really three, but from an import standpoint, largely you have two different types of coral that are permitted on CITES. CITES being the certificate or it's your certificate for international trade of exotic species. But basically, we're allowed to bring in both wild and cultured coral. And so, depending on where it comes from, certain countries allow wild coral collection, and some countries only allow cultured coral collection, or not collection, but farming. And some countries allow both. Indonesia right now allows both. Australia mainly does wild. And then you have places like the Solomon Island that has both as well. So depending on where I get it from, the coral is either collected out on the reef or it is grown in a farm. And so the whole process of getting coral to a tank is very involved. And what I've come to realize more than anything is that yes, we are for sure a coral wholesaling company, but any good wholesaler worth their salt is also going to say we're also a logistics company, because of what it takes to, if you think about it, ship live animals around the globe, right? You're talking air travel, everything has to be done through to air cargo, the collection times to the settling time to the packing time to the cutoff time to arrive to airport to transit time to possible transfer times to arrival times to fish and wildlife inspection times to customs clearance times to retrieval times to unpacking times. You got to add all of this up to get a sum collective of the amount of time this coral is spending in a bag, or fish in a bag, and you have to basically thread the needle with this. It's not, it's a bit of high stakes poker. And so depending on where it comes from in the world, you know, typically we have about a 24 to 36 hour, 24 would be very fast, but 24 to 36 hour turnaround from bagging to unbagging.
Wow.
And you get some long distance places, you get upwards of 48, 55 hours.
Yeah, and then we get a shipment delayed with FedEx or UPS by a day, and we deal with all kinds of stuff. I guess the difference is they're being packed for what, like prepared to be in the bags for 2-3 days. Is that right? Yeah.
Correct. And so there's many ways that you can kind of put some safety measures in play. One of the big ones for things like a high uptake coral, such as like acropora or something that is used to oxygen-rich environments, is during the packing time you can actually supersaturate the pack-out water with micro bubbles of pure oxygen, and that helps to give a pH buffer, because when you ship coral, they slime up, and they also use up the oxygen that's in the water. And so that slime has the potential to, if there's not carbon inside the bag, for that slime to degrade and become ammonia, right? And you want that ammonia to be absorbed by the carbon. At the same time, the enriched oxygen is going to give a pH buffer, because the second inside of a bag, it's kind of a closed system with what's in there, the slime and everything. But when you expose ammonia and you expose the water to air again, pH changes, right? The ammonia can spike. And so you basically, once you get the bag open, you want to get that coral out of the water as quick as possible for these long shipping times, which is different than, a lot of the common methodologies here where you're dealing a tank to tank sending of coral through the mail. It's a little bit different. You can do some acclimation, stuff like that. For our purposes, when we unbag, it is like a machine. Boxes are getting just broken down, corals placed on the tray, open, get them out of the water, and get them into our tanks.
Awesome. A few questions. Bill's asking, or Mark's asking if you have problems with UPS losing any of your coral. Okay, that's so you're not using UPS FedEx. You're going straight through the airports. Is that right, or is that going through?
Well,
UPS?
So for our inbound, it's all through airports, right?
Okay.
Because we're importing. For our outbound, we use both airports as well as FedEx. And I laugh because, again, when you have to be a halfway a logistics company, you also deal with lost packages.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes it ends up really great. I mean, we've had some crazy stories where things got lost for 4 days and
wow,
barely any DOA.
That's crazy. All coral or fish in there too?
Coral.
And
then, there's been times where it's been delayed for a day, and it's been a complete disaster. A lot of it has to do with, if it gets delayed, whether or not the package is put in a secure area that's temperature controlled. Right. That's a big factor on whether or not it's going to end up okay or not.
Gotcha. And a lot of this is happening like late at night, right? Like where the cooler temperatures and heat's not as bad, and you're picking them up like at weird hours. Is that right?
It just depends, man.
It just depends.
I have a 50-box shipment coming in at 7 a.m. in a couple weeks, and today we had one land at 11 a.m. and then yesterday we had one land at 4:30 p.m. We didn't get it till 6:30 p.m. and then the week before that I didn't get a shipment of fish until 11 p.m. So whenever the plane arrives is when we're on duty.
If you want to get into coral wholesale, be flexible.
yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
William asked what the fatality rate is. I'm assuming it varies from coming from overseas to you, the wholesaler, and then maybe it's different from you to the retailer.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and I think that it's probably multifaceted in the sense that I'll have to backtrack a little bit and state that it very much matters when you talk about sourcing responsibly and you talk about providing good products, that you work with people that are at the forefront of doing things the right way overseas, and really being selective about your partners. Okay. And I think I said this on a previous podcast as well. You know, we work with some fantastic people, and I mean, out of a 700 piece order, maybe 2 pieces.
Wow. That's like less than 1%.
Yeah. And so but we're very selective with who we work with. You know, that is not necessarily the case across the board. Do I pay a little extra sometimes? Sure. Do I get really good quality with the assurance that it's going to be done right, the animals are taken care of? Also sure. And so, you know, that's when you get into the wholesale world and you're dealing with overseas government regulations and people overseas and stuff, you know, there's a wide variety of individuals that one can choose to deal with. And so the answer for me is very little DOA, little to no DOA on the front end. But that is because, you know, we work with excellent partners.
Right on. So that's a good transition into just talking about your partners a little bit. And you know, yeah, I think Kyle, you're right on target. You know who you're dealing with. Yeah. Right. And there's tons of, you know, all of us in the reefing community, whether you're a hobbyist or you're in as a business, there's a lot of scams going around and a lot of DMs that happen from just random businesses. They start sending you all kinds of coral pictures. And I think it's always advisable to know who you're dealing with, which brings me up to another question. Somebody asked about, Joseph, do they come in as colonies or get fragged over there and then shipped? Let's jump into a video that I put on the side to share about you and overseas and just what you're doing over there. Let me start with this. Where's my share? Add to stage. All right. So tell me where this is.
Oh man.
Well, maybe you don't have to.
No, I can tell you where it is. It's just it's a very, very fond memory. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's the Solomon Islands. That is actually a deserted island. Nobody lives on that. And I actually spent the night on that island under the full moonlight. Like it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life.
That's all. Okay, so I saw that little title there, Overnighter, and I wanted to ask you, like, dude, did you like straight up? This was like tent city, just hanging out.
Yeah, if you see in that still frame, there's a tree trunk that's jutting out just above the beach in the distance. Yeah, that's where my hammock was.
What? Okay, that's awesome. let me play this clip. It's so cool. Dude, that's awesome. So is that your boat out there too?
Yeah, that was the boat.
Way cool, man. All right, so to give y'all a little bit more of a glimpse of what Caleb's doing out there, you know, you guys are asking about, you know, his selection and how the corals are coming in. Let me share this next. Where is it? Share this tab instead. Okay, here we go. So, and this is like a compilation of different areas. Is that right?
Different areas on the same trip.
Different areas, same trip. Okay, cool.
day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm
You're hustling, dude.
hustling, every day
Got the
I'm
dive
hustling,
on.
every day I'm hustling, 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 every day I'm hustling.
So cool. So to answer y'all's questions about some of the coral that they bring in, I mean, you see those huge colonies. So what's the process here? Are you bringing those in and like fragging them, or is that like an actual like aquaculture farm out there? Or
That was completely wild. So
okay.
if you so that there's a one shot in there, there was a lot of purple looking acropora, and that is actually the purple monster acropora, which is pretty famous. And to this date, it's only been found in one specific bay that we've been able to see it. And so that is a shot of that. So that's all wild. So predominantly, when you deal with wild corals, they're going to be bigger pieces, bigger colonies. We cut that up here in the U.S. once it arrives, largely. And then a lot of the mariculture, you can kind of control the sizes, right? Because you're growing it, and so you can have all sorts of size varieties as far as what you bring in, and then supply to the hobby. Some fragging, but mainly the fragging for mariculture has more to do with like branching euphilia and stuff like that. The other stuff from the wild, yes, it comes in big pieces. We cut it up, and yeah, like some of these pieces are, I mean, the size of a New York pizza that they would bring in.
Yeah, it's wild. It's super cool to see such huge colonies like that in the wild. I'm looking. Scanning for some of the frags that y'all made from those colonies, and scrubbing a video right now looking for it because I've seen you share some huge. Yeah, here we go. Let me show this stuff. There you go. Look at that. That's the same one, right?
Yep, it's purple monster.
That's crazy. Wow. So look at that. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That would look great in here.
Yeah,
Look
no
at that.
kidding.
So
Well,
a lot of
I
these
do have
colonies came
I
from
do have
you,
a
those
batch of it. I
LPS.
do have a batch of the purple monster coming in next week. You know.
Y'all hear that? Talk to your LFS. Make sure your connects are stocking vibrant corals because they can bring in just some amazing pieces. So let's get into so I have some clips of you actually. I think is this one diving or hold on, let me just play this one. Got one more for everybody. I don't remember if
Oh,
there was diving in this one.
there's a little bit of diving. That was to highlight some of the net caught fish collecting, which is kind of goes back to my point of responsible partners. No cyanide, nothing that actually harms the reef. I went down with them, and it's all hand caught, which is it's incredible how they do it. And if you look in this video, there's nets that are supposed to be standing up vertically, and you scare the fish out of the coral, and they swim into the net. Then you get a net. So the currents were so strong that these nets in the video you'll see they're like this. So it was they're pretty interesting down there at about 60 feet with that much current.
That's crazy. All right, let me hit play.
We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when. We all had a good time and we're sad to see it end. Good luck be with you. You go your way, I'll go mine. So until the next time, it's farewell and not goodbye.
Too awesome, man. Thank you, Caleb. That's so cool, dude.
Yep.
So you're hand selecting corals. You're out in the wild. You're also, I'm assuming a lot of this is also maricultured, and they have it in systems, and you're hand selecting as well, or
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. A lot of that happens in Indo, and then there's a really strong push right now with what they're doing in Solomon Islands for mariculture as well. So that's very encouraging to see.
Awesome. So I had your site up a little while ago. It had some of the regions. So these are the regions you're working with: Australia, Indonesia, Solomon Islands, Tonga, and Asian.
Hmm.
Is that just everywhere?
Yeah, just general,
Okay.
Asia Pacific.
That's awesome. One of the things I love about your site is you can go in here and just like browse and
Yeah,
browse for days and days and days. And this is cool because if you're end user, you're a hobbyist, you can go to your local fish store or whoever your vendor is. Man, I need this. I want that, right?
I,
And
I want this specific coral.
yeah,
Right.
because these are all what you see is what you get.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. All right, I
You
know
know,
we got
which
to go ahead.
well, and the thing too, from the hobbyist perspective, you'll notice these pictures. There's a whole lot of white. There's far less like blue
Right.
because when we do wholesale, we want to give an accurate representation of what our stores are going to be buying, and so it'll look a little different on the wholesale website versus a nice all blue picture with the orange filter and all that.
Right. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Oh man, when those red and oranges start coming out, ooh,
Yep, yep. Some of the stuff you scroll by, I've collected myself.
that's cool, man. That's cool to be able to just look at it and be like, yeah, I know I selected that, handpicked it. That's so cool. Kyle wants all this in Centerinas. Am I saying that right?
Sanarinas, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at y'all's comments. There's a lot coming in. All right. Carl's asking about fish. When you're diving, do you ever get fish stock in your beard?
No, not necessarily, but I have had some kind of swim up and under it and around it. But it's when you're diving, you would think that you're in these giant schools of fish and stuff that you'd be bumping into stuff, but they're pretty good about keeping about a 1 foot bubble around you.
That's awesome. I've seen a recent post about a grouper. I don't know where I saw it, but a grouper was just hanging out while the divers were doing whatever they were doing, and it just sitting there watching them the whole time.
Man, I saw a grouper in the Solomon Islands that was the size of a small car. And the thing is, every video I've seen of these giant groupers, they're usually just chilling, sitting inside of like a sunk ship or something. There's not a lot of movement, they're just these behemoths. This thing
Yeah,
was booking it across the reef. And I'm talking fast, and it was shocking to see. It was like it caught me off guard. It was like, oh goodness, because it was huge and it was moving so quickly.
that's awesome, man. I'm sure you got stories for days about diving out there.
It's once you that's the thing is once you do it and you experience it gets its hooks in you.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Hey, I got to tell y'all, man, I'm missing my stage manager Zion is behind the scenes right now, documenting every single one of your names as you comment, so that we can do a, a completely random spin of the wheel for the stratosphere. And usually he's highlighting your comments, but y'all got him to work today. So Zion, I appreciate you, man. I'm giving you a shout out, buddy. All right. Have you dived and witnessed a coral reef bleaching event? So William Morrison asked that question.
Not the mass bleaching that you'd probably be referring to from the northern zones of the Great Barrier Reef. I have seen individual bleaching, but that has more to do with the competitive nature of the reef environment and perhaps some of the fighting that goes on. Because when you zoom into a coral reef, every single inch is a battleground. And so, while I've seen individual pieces look like they're struggling, I have not witnessed a mass casualty bleaching event that that has been purported in like Australia, for example.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Caleb. So from Solomon, you're picking all these corals out, and then how does that work? So you're like, you got probably 20 boxes of corals worth that you need to get back to Dallas. What's the next step? What do you do from there?
Right. So all of it. So when we go out, we dive. We bring all the coral back daily, unless we pull an overnighter, in which case the coral stays in the water inside of baskets, and we haul it up the next day. That goes back to the facility. It is sorted. It is cleaned. Sponges are removed. Anything that's going to cause issues with shipping, cleaned off and pruned away. And so once it's there, typically for wild stuff, we want to let it sit for a week to 2 weeks before it ever does.
Okay,
anything
before
else,
you even send it your way.
just to adjust. At which point, so the guys, let's say, for example, if it was the Solomon Islands, they would start packing at about 3 a.m. in the morning. Probably about 5 to 6 hours of packing for, let's say, a 50-box shipment, something like that, fish and coral.
Wow.
And so, they start at 2, 3 a.m. And that would need to be at the airport a few hours before the actual takeoff of the airplane. So oxygenated water packed up. And you pack, when you do a big pack out like that, you pack in sequential order of what has the most durability for shipping. So you start with your most hardy, something that could live in an ashtray, basically, right? You start with those things, like let's say mushrooms. So you pack your mushrooms first, right? You end up packing, let's say, your acros last, because you want them to have the least amount of bag time. So once that's all packed up, it's in boxes, sealed up. And I mean, I've watched these guys, they're like ninjas. It's incredible how, I mean, it's a well-oiled machine. These packers, it's wild. So once that's all packed up, we get it in the van, we get it over to the airport, at which point there's going to be a broker that has arranged for space on a passenger flight. And so that's another thing that most people probably don't realize is a lot of this all just comes on passenger planes. And so a lot of times we are at the mercy of passenger payload and the accompanying amount of luggage that they are bringing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have these different brokers that are working for different importers, exporters that are always vying for the best possible space on the shortest possible flight. So we get it there, get it to the broker, gets loaded on the plane. The plane then goes to Brisbane, Australia. From Brisbane, it either goes to LAX or it can go from Solomon to Auckland, Auckland to Dallas. The total transit time will be 36 hours, give or take. And when it gets into the U.S., we got to declare it customs. And we have to show a packing list, every single thing there listed. Per box, per species, it has to match the CITES, which is the legal document showing that we're trading in exotic species. And the Fish and Wildlife will then inspect to see that what is on the documents matches what is in the boxes, and what is on the documents also matches the CITES. When that clearance happens, we're then allowed to go pick up the cargo. And so thankfully, we're only a few minutes away from most of the cargo bays here. So on a good day, after a plane lands, I can have the cargo inside of our van within 2 hours. On a not so good day, you can be waiting up to 4 to 6 hours, depending on how in gear the cargo employees are.
And I'm sure you have a team that's helping you with all this coordinating and
oh yeah, I have
being flexible.
I have a killer team. We have the I mean, as you can see from that video, that's just some of them. But I mean, I'm very grateful that we have the team that we do. I'm very blessed in that sense. We've got some fantastic guys.
Do you have different locations for Vibrant Corals for like the import and exporting out of other countries, or are you partnering with the those companies, or are you a customer to those companies that are?
So Vibrant would be a customer of the exporters, and with our import license, we can bring it in through any valid port of entry in the U.S.
Gotcha.
And so at that point, let's say it's not in Dallas. Well, there's services there that you just hire to transfer the boxes from that port onto a domestic flight to Dallas.
Gotcha.
But being that Dallas is so centrally located and DFW Airport is very large and growing even more, we're just getting more and more international flights that are coming directly into Dallas. It's been a big blessing for us to be able. There's a lot of people that do what I do that don't have the luxury of having direct flights into their city of choice. They have to transit through a known port of entry.
I love that you're also that you're making these trips. You're actually going out there. You're selecting your stock, and you're not just relying on some pictures being sent to you, or like that. That's a huge bonus, especially for the businesses that are buying from you, because they know that you're stocking the best.
Well, and that goes back to my point of when you need to have good relationships with the people you work with, and what better way to do that than to show up in person and meet up and hang out and have some meals and talk and strategize.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know everybody's anxious to see your facility. We also have a lot of comments about the giveaway, guys. It's just one comment gets your entry in. Everybody gets one entry. We're trying to make it as fair as possible, so you don't get extra entries for sending a bunch of comments. But Zion's documenting that, my stage manager, my oldest son also, and he's got your name. Zion, can you put up, or get ready to put up the next first giveaway? I'm throwing in an extra giveaway for y'all. It's a $25 Algae Barn gift card. And we're gonna play 2 Truths and a Lie, and get to know Caleb a little bit better. So Zion, you want to add that in for us? All right, y'all. 2 Truths and a Lie. First person to guess the lie wins a $25 gift card to Algae Barn. 1, Caleb is a licensed counselor. 2, Caleb was only 13 when he got his first tattoo. And 3, Caleb enjoys gymnastics in his spare time. Which one is the lie? You look like a gymnastics kind of guy to me. 2 is the lie. Is that right? Is that the first comment? No, that's not correct. Number 3 is correct. Caleb is not. I don't know. Are you into gymnastics?
No. I'm not into gymnastics. No.
All right, Zion. Who was the first person to say 3? We have YouTube and Facebook comments, so y'all may not be able to see all of the comments. We're on StreamYard, and we're multicasting, I think is what they call it. Let's see. I just scrolled all the way up and past it. Oh, you did? Steve C., congratulations. All you need to do, Steve, is send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram with your email address for Algae Barn, and I'll send you a $25 gift card. So, Caleb, tell us about you're a counselor. What type of counselor are you certified as?
I'm a licensed chemical dependency counselor. So I have my license in chemical dependency counseling, and that largely stems from the fact that I am coming up on 13 years sober. I
count it right there, brother.
Yep, 100%. So
that's awesome.
Had a big life change a long time ago, and it's been good.
That's cool. Thank you for sharing, man. I appreciate that.
Man.
Okay, and then second one, you're 13 when you got first tattoo. I mean, obviously I can see your tattoos. What was your first tattoo? And who let you do that?
There's no letting. I was a very rebellious child. And remember, I grew up in China. I grew up in China, so if I could ask, if I could pay for it, it could happen, basically,
Yeah.
I was a little wild child. And so, yeah, I got the logo of a band tattooed on my leg when I was 13.
Okay, that's cool, dude. All right, I'm trying to think what band I would have tattooed if I got a tattoo. See, I was big into Bob Marley during that time. I think I went through a little grunge, so I had like some Nirvana stage.
Oh, man. No, this was POD.
Oh, way to go, dude. A POD tat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks for sharing, man.
Hmm.
All right, so before we get into a little tour of your facility, I'm gonna do rapid fire with you. I'm gonna name out some reefing terms, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Fish.
Japanese mass swallow angel.
Woo! That was a mouthful. Is that your favorite fish?
No, not necessarily, but it's one that I've been bringing in recently, and I just was looking at a video of one earlier.
Okay, right on. All right, coral.
Acropora.
Aquaport. Yeah, man, they're addicting.
Mm-hmm.
They are. It's funny because they don't move, right? Like, well, until you get them polyps out, and once you get that polyp extension, man, it's like I love them. I love them so much.
When you see them in the wild, it's nuts.
I've never seen them in the wild. Well, I've snorkeled before in Hawaii, but I haven't really actually like seen a full-on reef with, like those big acropora colonies that we showed at the beginning that you saw when you were diving. That's just freaking awesome, man. All right, what about salt?
Salt, Fritz.
Fritz, do y'all have one salt brand you use at the shop?
Fritz.
And Fritz,
Yep, we use Fritz. Yep.
Right on. And
They are
lights?
their main facility is 20 minutes away, so
I mean, come on, come on, that's convenient.
yep.
Yeah, and you probably have a good relationship with all of them being that close too.
Mm-hmm. Great people over there.
That's cool. All right, lights.
Lights, overblown.
What's overblown?
The hype around them.
Oh, okay.
So-
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yep.
When I got into reefing, LEDs had just first, like there was talk of them and it wasn't really happening. That was 2007 time frame, and it was all metal halides. I think VHOs were big, and then that was around the time people were moving away from PC lights. Then T5s also were big at that time.
That's what I started with, T5.
All right, so in your facility, is it all LED, or do you have halides, or?
All LED for controllability. We don't do like a lot of aquaculture here, so this is when you bring in coral fresh like that, we try to keep the par down to 100, 150 at first, let everything acclimate.
Okay, low.
We're in and out facility. We don't hold on to stuff for long because we want.
Right on. I think we just lost Caleb for a second. I put the tank on and browse through the comments. What's up, Juan, my brother? Thank you for joining, dude. Elisa, what's up? William, thank you for joining. Sophie Reef, what's up? Devon, what's up, man? Steve C, don't forget to drop me a message. We're waiting for Caleb to join back, and he is back. There we go.
Yeah, no. I had a call come in. I don't know why it kicked me off of it.
That's fine. Hey, when I was prepping for this live stream, I was sharing my Facebook, the screens, because that's where I pulled those videos for of you. And I was getting DMs in Messenger, and they kept showing on the pop-up, and I was like, oh man, I'm better not get any DMs while I'm sharing those videos. All right, man. Let's take a walk around the facility. I don't know if you want to start with anything specific or what's convenient for you, but I think everybody'd like to see gear, fish, coral, shipping station.
No, absolutely. Now, gear is going to be a little underwhelming because we take a very simplistic approach to a lot of things.
That's good information, man. That's kind of stuff people want to know about.
I got to figure out how to flip the camera.
Yeah, there should be a when you first join. There's a flip, like a recycle looking icon. Or if you can see settings, you see option for settings.
There we go.
Okay, there you go. Cool. Bam.
How does that look for y'all?
Yep, we can see. There you go. You got the orange filter on.
So this is my tank. that I haven't had a personal tank in a long time, so it just started. But I went the opposite of what I would normally do, which is all aquapora, and just I wanted to do something a little more simple, but just a lot of mushrooms and soft stuff, right?
LPS.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Actually,
I
that
like
was
the
a gift
colors.
from it was a gift for one of my employees, a surprise gift for Christmas. So that was very nice of him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, very sweet of him. So yeah, we Hi.
Hey.
This is my business partner, Janelle.
What's up, Janelle? Surprise!
Surprise! So back here we have some invert systems and some of our sand-loving wrasses we have in here. A lot of Trocus snails. As far as the facility goes,
I saw that dude in a video recently.
Yes.
All
So
right,
our
so
facility,
all the coral.
yeah. So basically, we're about 5,000 square feet, and trying to give you the full shot of it. So spanning
yeah.
from here all the way down that way and past, and all of this is all coral systems.
Awesome.
Like so, for example, we have these would be acans, trackies, button scolies, regular scolies, mushrooms.
Awesome.
There's
Yeah,
a
Bill, it's
giant-
nice, right?
A giant tank full of just torch. That's
Hey,
all
dude.
torch.
It's so cool how you like color coordinate too.
Well, yeah, you got to stay organized. But yeah, that's all torch there. We got Rasta, Holy Grail, Hellfires, different greens and highlighters. This is going to be a fish-only tank where we put some of our, pretty crazy wild fish we get in. Here, you want this one for your tank, Rob?
Oh man, that's beautiful, dude.
You think he'll fit?
Yeah, wonder what all he would eat.
Yeah, so that's Tiny Tim. He's our 11-inch Imperator Angel from Madagascar.
It's so hard to tell, like because there's nothing in there that gives me a size. There you go. Woo, big boy.
He's
That's
quite
awesome.
quite large.
Yeah. Tiny Tim.
And so, like here, it's empty right now. But for example, this would be the this is where we like stage orders that are going out, right?
Okay.
And so all of this is typically full during the day. There's some beautiful rock flowers.
Yeah.
And that is something I wanted to show you guys as well. We actually just got a shipment of rock flowers in today. Hopefully the lights are on back here.
So you're what, like 7 o'clock right now?
Mm-hmm.
Sun's already setting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got Danelle back here working hard. So
Wow.
we have at least
Look
3
at those
rock
colors.
flowers. I've
Dang.
counted. There's at least 3 in here. So maybe 4. But this has been something fun that we've been working on with a really incredible overseas partner that kind of realizes what we're trying to do and the quality that we want and we need. And he's really just been over backwards to be a great partner to us and do the things necessary on his end that require extra work as a service to us to ensure that we get the type of stuff to get to stores that, just
Woo, pretty.
incredible stuff. And so
Yeah.
that's what I mean by our.
Look at those colors, man. Oh, y'all want some of those? I know you do.
And for me, Caribbean's kind of a newish thing that we've been doing. It's been a lot of fun because just the diversity of those rock flowers. Can you still hear me, by the way?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. All right, perfect. I'm going
I
to
lost
throw
image
on.
though.
Yeah. I'm swapping over to turn on a light so I can show you guys.
Okay, cool. Man, there's some pretty corals.
Some more of the Caribbean stuff that just came in today.
Awesome.
So-
Zion, thanks for getting the comments, dude.
Am I back?
Yep.
Am I fully back? Can you see?
Yeah, did y'all see the example of blue lens or orange lens and no orange lens?
So here's some of the incredible Recordia we're getting.
Oh man,
We're
that's
just,
one of my favorite corals, man, Rick's. But it's hard for me to keep them because I have so much flow for the SPS.
Well, again, we have at least 3 here. So, and then some of these are some of my favorites too. These
Whoa,
neglectus.
man, those are
Yeah.
popping.
Oh yeah. So,
Nice.
you know, Caribbean stuff gets kind of a backseat status in a lot of ways. But for me, I've found it very rewarding to bring in and see all the stuff. So this is going to be our new display tank.
Looks awesome, dude.
Here's a rainbow Wilsoni from Western Australia.
That's beautiful. Is that sand on it, or is that part of its coloration?
No, that's part of its coloration.
Oh, crazy! That's awesome, dude. Beautiful.
And so,
Rick, I got another tank, dude. I just got to set it up, man. It's
hey man,
another
I'll help you
CADE.
fill it.
All right, man.
You know.
Yep.
I don't know if y'all saw, but Remy is doing a Solomon Island tank.
I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah, Remy and Reef is doing a Solomon Island only tank. So the whole theme is just Solomon Island live rock, fish, and corals. It's pretty cool.
That's
And,
Llama Corals, guys. Is that his
Yeah.
channel? Llama Corals.
Bahama Llama. I
Bahama
believe.
Llama. There you go.
So yeah, I threw on the lights a little bit. Here's something pretty cool. This is a grafted elephant ear mushroom. So I
Wow.
don't know if you can see how this is grafting right here.
Yeah.
It's got the dark spots versus the
Yep.
light spots. That
So,
came from-
explain grafting for our viewers that are not familiar with that.
So sure, yeah. Grafting is when the zooxanthellae of a coral grows in streaks of 2 different types of zooxanthellae. Zooxanthellae is what gives the coral its color. It lives in the skin of the coral and is a symbiotic algae. So when you have these algae living in the skin, sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll have 2 completely different ones living side by side next to each other, which can cause some crazy color variations because one of them might be blue and this one might be green and that one might be red or purple.
Yeah, y'all will see that most frequently with Montiporos caps.
Yep. That's a great example.
Yep.
Great example.
And that's actually an easier one to do that hobbyists can do pretty easy.
As far as equipment, we're very simplistic. The one thing that I would say, and this doesn't necessarily scale to hobbyists. It can, but for us, with the size of the systems that we run, having algae scrubbers is an absolute game changer because it allows us to feed broad spectrum a lot of food without having to worry about nutrient spikes. And another thing that's been great for our aquaport system is having a biomedia reactor to outcompete anything that we don't want affecting the sensitive SPS corals.
Okay, and
So
what are you
those-
running
those-
in that?
Just the honeycomb bio, they're just the little
Okay.
bio ball, not the balls, but like they're the little pie slices.
Okay.
You know,
It's got some
obviously you need your
serious, water moving in it.
Oh yeah, but obviously you know you want to have all of your main life support stuff in place. But I think the big thing though that a lot of people don't understand, or maybe intellectually understand but haven't actualized in their practices yet, is how to just pursue stability over anything else. And as long as you have the basic life support functions in place to provide that kind of stability, you're going to see all kinds of success that probably you wouldn't see if you were trying to chase this notion of what perfection looks like. And really just being more part of the process of the journey instead of the destination. People that understand that have more of a rewarding reefing experience, and they also, funnily enough, like end up with some of the more beautiful tanks because their daily habits of providing that stability accumulate into long-term beautiful growth and development of their tanks.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. good advice, man. So, you're pretty minimal on gear, and I like what you said about the algae scrubbers. I personally haven't used one before, only because I'm addicted to macroalgae and the life in a sump. I just love that part of reefing. But are you doing a lot of water changes? Are you minimal on water changes? What's your
Yes and no.
practice?
Here's how water changes happen. I go through about 200 gallons a day through shipping out, pop off. all
Yeah,
that.
okay.
So a
So-
natural water change occurs daily. It's not a certain set percentage per system or anything like that.
You're just getting water change, pretty regular water changes, obviously, just because of the amount of coral that's leaving.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, somebody asked earlier in the live stream about acclimation. Are you like dripping, or what's your method for acclimation on corals that you're bringing in?
Yeah. So like I kind of mentioned earlier, when you're dealing with those long flight times and everything. Oh, and hey, shout out Becky. That was very funny. When you're dealing with those long flight times and everything, really, the acclimating part of it is not as pertinent as getting it into good water. Now, there's a huge temperature variance, yes, but typically when you deal with good shippers, you're only going to have at most, 3 to 5 degree swing, in which when it comes to that's within tolerance of coral. We do it day in, day out with no problems. One thing that I will say, when I do these things, I always feel like a certain level of responsibility to reiterate many times that I'm a wholesaler. We have commercial level of how we do things that may not apply to a hobbyist level
Right.
on the, and so to take everything I say and understand that I'm applying it to a mass scale. Hey, what's up, Nick?
Hey, Nick's
Gonzalez.
gonna at some point might be ready for some corals from you once he gets his new facility going.
He keeps threatening that, man. We'll see. We'll see.
Thanks for joining, Nick.
Um,
And we have a link in the description with our last live stream, which was with Nick. If y'all want to check that out, make sure you head over.
Oh, yeah, I
after
saw that.
this. Yeah,
I saw that.
it was a fun one.
That's funny. I knew Nick before I was ever a coral wholesaler.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Nick has some
Uh-huh.
cool background with like a lot of help and counseling, that kind of arena. So is that how you knew him, or?
No.
No.
It was through his fish trap, and a buddy of mine had a store, and I just reached out to him, and we kind of hit it off really well.
That's cool. Yeah, Nick, you good people, man.
Yeah. Nick's good people for sure.
Yeah.
So all that to say, there are some like disciplines from a hobbyist perspective you can absolutely implement when I talk about stuff. Don't necessarily go think, hey, I got to go put a large size algae reactor onto my reef tank, because you will strip every ounce of goodness out of the water and you're going to wonder
Right.
what happened. I'm showing you what we do on a commercial scale in order to provide stability at that level, because we have to broadcast feed massive amounts of food every day for all the coral. So there's different things that we do that are not going to apply to the at-home hobbyist.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that kind of goes the same with anybody in how they keep their reef tanks, and a lot of people just try to do whatever someone else is doing, but it's important to know why they're doing it and understand why you're doing what you're doing, and not everything applies to everybody. What's up, Walter? Thanks for joining, brother. I see you there. Germs wants to come work for you, Caleb.
Hold on.
All right. What's Kyle asking? What is the biggest hurdle for someone wanting to get into importing, assuming they know how to take care of coral?
So that's a very good question. So there are very few retail or hobbyists that I've seen be successful blend importing with their current business. And the reason for that is multifaceted. The biggest hurdles you'll run into as a first timer are you'll probably get an excellent first order if you don't get scammed out of the money if you haven't vetted who you're working with. So let's assume you've vetted who you're working with, you know it's going to be good, okay, and you send them payment, you get the coral. Most people don't have the experience to automatically process and handle a minimum 15 to 20 box order. And now you're talking about mixing the husbandry needs of a vast variety of corals, probably within the confines of 1 to 2 systems. But the main thing that I see that doesn't work for retailers and individuals is when you import, like you just saw one of my tanks, it is an 8x4 tank that has just torch in it. That was from one shipment. When you take from these guys overseas, they're not going to be like, oh, you want to cherry pick these 3 boxes of this one piece, that one piece. They're like, hey, you can take, 100 of those, 50 of those, you're right. And so when someone who's trying to do it on their own, inevitably what happens is you end up with a lot of the same stuff, and you quickly supersaturate your local market and the people around you. You devalue the coral itself because then you got to sell it for cheap because you're trying to at least make your money back or make some room in your tank. And so a lot of what we do is we provide the buffer in between those two things. And I go out, select and purchase and bring in from multiple sources, which allows a store the flexibility to say, hey, I just want 3 hammers from Indo. I want 2 octospawn from Australia. I want these 5 fish from here, right? And they're not overexposing themselves on a monetary level to risk that a lot of small businesses aren't in the position to take, one. And then 2, a lot of people don't realize, like, what are you going to do if there's a delay in the airline? What kind of backup systems do you have for that? Are you prepared? Are you prepared to just wipe away $30,000 in one shot? Because if you're willing to import, then you have to be fully prepared and willing to take that risk. And so those are some of the hurdles. Again, I'm not dissuading anyone from it. I'm speaking from experience of watching it happen. There are a few people that I've seen do it well. But their entire model is based off of bringing in, maximizing, and moving out. And they figured out a way to move all of the bread and butter stuff that doesn't make them any money while maximizing their profits on the nicer stuff. And it's a delicate balance to do that at a large scale.
Great response, man. That's appreciate you dropping the advice and knowledge to the viewers. Anybody else that has questions, feel free to start dropping them in the comments. My son Zion is getting the comments together, and we're gonna have a giveaway spin for y'all. He's been documenting everybody's name as you've been commenting, so everybody will have an equal chance to win. I'm scrolling through some of the comments just because there's so many of them to see if there's any questions for you, Caleb. We'll get the tank back on the stage so we can see that. I think most of my LPS came from you, Caleb. I have lost some things over the years. For y'all that aren't aware, this tank has hits 3 years in January that I added water. I think it took me about 3 or 4 months before I started adding coral. I started adding coral after I added the yellow tangs. And yeah, a lot of that LPS came from you, Caleb.
I remember that.
Yep. I remember when I first got into SPS, you sent me 2 small frags just so I could test it out. And if you look on the top, on the scape that's on the left, where most of the SPS are, that yellowish greenish colony is the Millipora that you sent me.
Oh, really?
I think it was Indo maricultured one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that guy was just a little nub, and it's taken off. I did lose the other coral; it didn't make it. I think I lost it within like a week, but fortunately, that one made it, and that one was just.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's going to town. Let's see. I lost. Man, you remember that rainbow Wholesale you sent me? That thing was freaking beautiful.
That was a banger.
I had a huge Echinata colony flop over on it, and I lost both of them. And that the Echinata colony,
it's like,
dude, it
not,
was
not just one of them dies, but like
both of them. I was like, no, man, they went to a hardcore battle. But that Echinata, dude, that I had a buddy in Texas when we moved out to Florida. He held it for me for, oh shoot, two years. So a year while we were traveling around looking for a home, and then another year waiting for me to get my tank built up. So he held it for like 2 or 3 years. But that colony had been with me for like 5 or 6 years. So man, it sucked to lose that, and then it sucked even more to lose the rainbow Wholesale. Yeah, our second oldest son Josiah, he's like my eyes on the tank. And one morning he ran up, Dad, you gotta come down quick. And I was like, no. Oh man. What else, dude? Can you see in the middle where the open water area is? That chalice. Remember that pink chalice you sent me?
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's doing really well. I kind of gave it a little.
Your whole tank's banging, man.
Yeah, it's doing great, man. The first year was a little rough, but
yeah. You had to kind of get it sorted out.
Yep. Zon, what are you trying to show me? Comments or what? Oh, I need to scroll down. I'm sorry. Oh, wow. Let's see. Zon, if there's any questions, put them on the screen so we can ask Caleb. Is there talk of introducing aquaculture corals to reefs?
Yeah, so that has been and will continue to be a thing, and as long as it is morphologically similar and geographically similar species that are being farmed and replanted in their local areas, it is always going to be a fantastic thing. There's some there's some great organizations that are already doing it, both in Florida and Tahiti and Fiji, all those places. And we also support efforts in Solomon Islands and Indo to replant as well. And cool. As long as it's done right, it's fantastic. And there's already some great examples of that.
That's cool. And you know what's cool is all the reefers with tanks, man. Y'all are growing coral. I mean, how cool is that, right? Like,
yep.
That's at any point, right? Like we got an entire bank full of coral in everybody's tanks. Becky must live near you or something. She said she's able to check out your shop, and best wholesaler out there by far. That's cool.
They're awesome. That's Absolute Salinity.
Okay, shout out Absolute Salinity. Walter, you talking about my tank? Right on the back.
Tell Kyle fund number would be 200 gallons of salt a day.
Okay. Did you hear that? What is it, Kyle? Oh, okay, Kyle.
John, never let people talk you into cutting your beard off. I saw that comment. But the beautiful thing is you can grow it back. It will come back.
It does grow back. Yeah, you got a rowdy beard, Caleb. Right on, brother. Has it been longer, or is that the longest?
I don't even know, honestly, at this point. I've had it for so long. Whenever I go to the bar, she just kind of knocks down the sides or what. I have no clue. Sure.
That's awesome. Caleb loves the beard. Oh, he said my wife that's why you said that.
Exactly.
Hey, my wife didn't talk me into anything. She just said, I don't like that. So it was gone, man. Like, she's number one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. John's ready to fly to Indo, Caleb.
No, absolutely.
That's cool.
He might be the one flying me. I'm serious. He's about to be a pilot.
Okay, that's cool. Come pick me up on the way.
Yeah, no problem.
Y'all got room for my crew too? Babe, you hear that? We're going to Endo. Awesome. All right, let's get this giveaway for the people.
Boom.
All right, Zion, let's take the tank off. Zion, you've done a great job. I know that's a lot of work documenting everybody's names. So Zion has documented everybody's names. We're going to spin a wheel. You got your screen ready, Zion? All right, we'll add that to stage. And he's been adding to a notepad everybody's names. He's going to copy and paste that into this, what is this thing called? A name spinner.
Oh, wow.
All right, so this is for a 2 polyp stratosphere frag from Caleb Vibrant Corals. So we're going to do a shuffle. We're going to do 3 shuffles, and then we'll spin. Whoever's name pops up, you are the winner. And if you have, by chance, dropped since we made it to this end, that's okay. We're going to still hook you up. Just send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and then we'll communicate, and I'll get your information over to Caleb. So, Zion, let's shuffle that spinner. You can see all of your names here. Zion has a few notes, just in case any of y'all had duplicated names. I don't think there are any. Did you shuffle already, Z? Let's see, a shuffle. All right. 2 shuffles, 3 shuffles. Is that 3? Yep. All right. Scroll up and give it a spin, Zion. The winner of the Stratosphere Frag shipped is going to be... Oh, Germs almost took it. Bill Billings. Bill, congratulations, my brother. Send me a message. I know you're on Facebook, so send me a message on Facebook. Congratulations. You won a Stratosphere Frag. Appreciate it, everybody that joined. We've been having some pretty cool guests. And, you know, Caleb, thank you, dude, for donating a frag for the viewers. That made it a lot of fun. And appreciate you spending all this time with us.
Absolutely, man. My pleasure.
For sure, man. Appreciate you. And y'all, if you have additional questions, feel free to keep dropping them. And if I can't answer them, I'll send them to Caleb, and I'm sure he'll see them here and there. And the stream is the replay will be on Facebook and on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you're following Vibrant Corals on Instagram and on Facebook. Caleb's always putting out content out there, and he's super engaged with the community. So thank you for that, Caleb. We appreciate you. And it's been a fun time, man.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time. This was good.
Absolutely, bro. I'm going to talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good, man. Y'all take it easy.
All right. All y'all viewers, take care. Appreciate you. Peace out.